Every time that I feature my planer in one of my videos, I get the same question: do you get snipe? Well, today I'm going to show you a few tricks that I use that help to reduce snipe and work on any planer. Eliminating snipe altogether can be very difficult, but these tricks are going to help you reduce snipe to the point where a little bit of sanding or card scraping will take it right out. Now, I'm fortunate enough to have this really nice DeWalt 735. It's got some extension beds on it and it does a great job of reducing snipe, but it wasn't always the case. Before this, I had one of those lunchbox style planers that didn't have any extension beds and snipe was a big issue. So I had to use these tricks on a regular basis to reduce the snipe and make my life in the woodshop a lot easier. One big reason for snipe on most planers is not enough stabilization on the infeed or outfeed side of the table. This DeWalt 735 comes with these extension wings, so it really helps reduce that snipe. But even so, when you get longer, heavier boards, the weight of them makes them want to rock and it can cause a lot of snipe. So I'm going to take these wings off and I'm going to show you a simple jig that I've used both when I had a lunchbox style planer and even sometimes with this planer that helps with that stabilization. To create stability, all you have to do is use this simple jig. I cut down a piece of MDF, melamine will work as well. If the surface isn't slick enough for a board to slide through, use some paste wax, that should work. All you do is cut it down to the width of your planer. I have a 13-inch planer. I cut this board to just shy of 13 inches wide. Now, you want to leave it long enough so you have plenty of excess going off the back side, plenty of excess coming off the front side. I recommend 8 or 10 inches at least. I attached a cleat to the back using some finish nails, just a piece of 3/4 inch scrap I had laying around the shop, and I attached it about 8 or 10 inches in from the end. Don't pay any attention to this cleat. I was using this board for something else before. It has nothing to do with the jig. So I attached the cleat using some finish nails. I made sure that it was square, and all we have to do is slide this jig into our planer until the cleat stops it, and then we have enough overhang for stability both on the front side and the back side. With plenty of stability now on the infeed and outfeed, we can run our longer boards through, and that's going to keep it from sagging and causing that snipe. This is a very simple solution to increase that stability, and it's going to really help your snipe if you don't have that proper stability on your planer. A few quick things to note while you're using a jig like this is: one, you've increased the thickness of your bed, so therefore the thickness measurement on your planer is not going to be right anymore. So you're either going to have to adjust this on the planer or just use a tape measure and manually measure your wood as you plane it till you get to the correct thickness. And second, remember, this is a quick and easy little jig that I threw together. If you're going to need stabilization on a more long-term basis, I highly recommend building something a little more permanent. So this next tip is probably the one that I use the most often, and that's using sacrificial pieces on both the infeed and the outfeed of your project board. On just about every project that you're making, you're gonna have some scrap pieces that are the same thickness as your project pieces. So let's say this is my project piece. I'm just gonna use 2 scrap pieces. I'm gonna run one in first. I'm gonna butt the project piece up to it as it goes through, and then run my next piece in right behind my project piece, butting it up against that. What that's going to do is it's going to put the snipe on the sacrificial pieces and not my project board. It's really simple. Let me show you how to do it. With our planer set, we're going to run our first sacrificial piece through the planer, and then as it's running through, we're going to butt our project piece right up against it. That's going to put the snipe on the sacrificial piece and not our project piece. As our project piece is running through the planer, we're going to take that second sacrificial piece, butt it up right against the back side of our project piece, and then let it run through. If done correctly, this process works great every time and will leave your project piece virtually snipe free. Another thing to remember is don't get into a hurry. Sometimes when you try to take off too much wood in one pass, it can create a lot of snipe. So I try to keep each one of my passes at around 1/16 of an inch. Lastly, and an important thing to remember, is that a planer can only mimic the face of the board that is facing downward. So if that face of the board is not properly milled and it's facing downward, it can have some twist and cupping and make that board move as it's being fed through the planer. And this can really increase your snipe. So having that face properly milled before you run it through the planer can really help out on your snipe issues. Now, whether you're doing that on a joiner, whether you're doing it on a router sled or a planer sled, make sure you get that side that's going to be facing down nice and flat before you run it through, and that should really reduce a lot of your snipe as well. All right, folks, that does it for us today. I teed you up another video right there because I'm sure you'll love it, and I hope today's simple and straightforward video will help you eliminate snipe in your shop. We'll see you on the next one.